So you direct the Philly Mariners Cup, and 2023 was the first year you guys used dynamic bib assignment, right?
Yeah. So historically, 6, 7 years ago, we actually used to use web check-in and had constantly were having problems with our hotspot failing or people getting logged out of laptops, and I felt like every race morning I was over check-in all the time. We used to have lots of problems with getting check-in efficient and smooth, and then we moved to the race day check-in app, and I was a little bit nervous. We have a lot of older volunteers who initially were a bit concerned about the idea of using their phone. And I do remember the first year we used that going over, and our volunteer lead was just like, no, I have no questions. Everything's great. So obviously we knew that using the race day check-in app was the answer moving forward. But this is the first time that we'd worked out with our timer to do dynamic bib assignment. And again, there was a little bit of trepidation from the registration team. How would this work with scanning the QR codes, and did we have enough people? And literally every time I walked over in the morning, there was no line. At some point, our registration coordinator looked at me and was like, do we have fewer people registered this year? Because this just seems to be going great. And no, we did not have fewer people. We actually had more people than last year. And so, the answer is it really, really did mean we had literally no lines, because all of a sudden every volunteer could help any person who was there instead of, waiting for the next event to come up.
And we have a video on dynamic bib assignment and what that is, but just for anyone watching now, can you explain the difference between dynamic and what you used to be doing?
Yeah, so we historically would have our bibs in advance, and they'd have named little labels on them with people's names. So people would have to come up, they'd check in, and then the volunteer would have to sort through the bibs to find the correct name, which means each person had, A through L or whatever, and, someone coming up could only go to that person. With dynamic bib assignment, the bibs aren't assigned in advance. The runner comes up, the volunteer picks up a bib, puts their bib number into the check-in app so that the timer can then download that information and knows who has that bib. And then they just hand the runner the bib and off they go. It can really make things a little bit smoother in terms of the process of picking up bibs.